The great throne room of the KR Empire was a vast space made of dark stone. The walls were tall and black, reflecting the light from the glowing lamps above. In the center of the room sat Queen Kayla. She was a tall alien with pale skin and eyes that shimmered like silver coins. She wore a robe of deep purple velvet that trailed on the floor behind her. Despite her royal clothes, she looked very tired. Her shoulders were slumped forward, and her hands rested heavily on the arms of her chair. The chair itself was made of obsidian, carved to look like the wings of a predator. It was a symbol of power, but today it felt like a burden. The war against the Human Federation had been going on for too long. It had lasted for 30 years. Whole stars had been destroyed. Billions of soldiers from both sides were dead. The KRYL Empire was rich once, but now their resources were running low. Their ships needed fuel, and their soldiers needed rest. Queen Kayla knew that they could not fight forever. Something had to change. She looked out at her advisors who stood in a line before her. There were 5 of them. They wore gray uniforms and looked nervous. They knew the queen was angry. The war was not going well for the KRL. The humans were stubborn. They did not surrender easily. One of the advisors stepped forward. His name was Torin. He was the queen's main aide. He held a digital tablet in his hands. He cleared his throat before speaking. "Your Majesty," he said softly, "we have reviewed the options. The military commanders say we cannot win a direct assault on the human home world. Their defenses are too strong. Our ships would be destroyed before we got close." Queen Kayla nodded slowly. She already knew this. She had seen the reports. The human ships were fast and their weapons were accurate. It was frustrating. She wanted to end this quickly. She wanted peace, but she wanted it on her terms. She wanted the humans to bow to her. Torin continued speaking. "We have a new idea. It is a gamble, but it might work. The humans value their own people. They care about their soldiers. If we take a prisoner, a high-value one, we might force them to talk." Queen Kayla looked up. Her silver eyes narrowed. "We have many prisoners," she said. Her voice was cold. "Why have they not worked before?" Torin shook his head. "Most prisoners are low rank. The humans do not care about them. They send new soldiers to replace the lost ones. We need someone they know. Or someone they think they know. We need to make a show of it. We need a human to sign the peace treaty under our watch. If a human signs it, their people might follow." Kayla thought about this. It was a risky plan. If the humans refused, it would make her look weak. But if it worked, she could save her empire. She nodded her head. "Show me the list," she said. Torin tapped on his tablet. A hologram appeared in the air between them. It showed a list of names and faces. These were human prisoners held in the KRYL detention centers. Most of them looked scared or beaten. Kayla scanned the list. She wanted someone who looked ordinary. If she chose a famous general, the humans might try to rescue him. If she chose a nobody, the humans might not care. She needed a balance. She wanted someone who looked like a standard soldier but had enough presence to be on camera. Her finger hovered over a name. Jack Miller. The photo showed a man with short brown hair and green eyes. He looked calm in the picture. There were no scars on his face. His rank was listed as infantryman. It was a low rank. Kayla liked this. He seemed harmless. He seemed like a regular person who got caught in the wrong place. "Perfect," she said. "He looks weak. He looks like someone who will break easily." Torin hesitated. "There is something else, Your Majesty. His file is mostly redacted. The humans have hidden his real record. We do not know what he did before he was captured." Kayla laughed. It was a sharp sound. Hidden records are usually a trick to make someone look important. "He is likely nothing. Just a soldier. Bring him here. I want to see him myself." Torin bowed and left the room. The other advisors followed him. Queen Kayla was left alone in the big throne room. She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the capital planet was visible. It was a world of metal and lights. Huge ships floated in the sky. This was the heart of her empire. She could not let it fall. She turned back to the room. She would make an example of this Jack Miller. She would make him sign the paper. She would show the Human Federation that their strength was an illusion. She did not know that she was making a mistake. She did not know that the redacted file was there for a reason. The humans did not hide his record to protect him. They hid it to protect everyone else from him. Hours later, the doors to the throne room opened again. Torin walked in with a group of guards. They were tall KRWL warriors wearing armor. In the middle of them was a human. It was Jack Miller. He wore a gray prison uniform. His hands were bound in metal cuffs. A chain connected his wrists to the hands of the guard in front of him. Jack walked slowly. He did not look at the floor. He looked straight ahead. His face was clean. He did not look scared. He did not look angry. He looked bored. The guards pushed him forward to stand before the Queen. Torin spoke. Prisoner Jack Miller, captured in Sector 7. Brought before Queen Kayla. Kayla looked down at him from her throne. She expected him to shake. She expected him to beg. Instead, Jack looked around the room. He looked at the black walls. He looked at the guards. Then he looked at the Queen. "Hello," he said. His voice was calm. It echoed in the big room. Kayla frowned. "Do you know where you are, human?" she asked. Jack nodded. "I assume I am on your home world. The architecture is distinct." Kayla was surprised. Most humans did not know about architecture. They were supposed to be brutes. "You are calm for a prisoner," she said. Jack shrugged. "Being scared does not change the chains. So I do not bother." Kayla leaned forward. She felt a small prick of annoyance. He was not acting like a victim. He was acting like a guest. She did not know it yet, but the game had already started. And Jack Miller was not playing by her rules. The interrogation chamber was smaller than the throne room. It was a cold room with white walls. There was a single metal table in the center. 2 chairs sat on opposite sides of the table. Queen Kayla sat in one chair. She had changed her clothes. Now she wore a simple black uniform. She wanted to look serious. She wanted Jack Miller to feel the weight of her authority. The guards stood by the door. They held their weapons ready. Jack Miller sat in the other chair. His hands were still cuffed. He looked at the table. He tapped his fingers on the metal surface. The sound was quiet, but it filled the silence. Kayla watched him. She waited for him to speak first. She wanted to see if he would break under the pressure. Jack stopped tapping his fingers. He looked up at the Queen. "Is there any coffee available?" he asked. Kayla blinked. She was not expecting this question. "Coffee?" she repeated. "Yes," Jack said. "It has been a long trip. I could use something warm." Kayla felt her anger rise. This human was treating this like a casual meeting. He was a prisoner of war. He should be fearing for his life. "There is no coffee here," she said sharply. "We are not here for refreshments. We are here for your surrender." Jack nodded slowly. "Okay. No coffee. That is fine. Water would work too." Kayla slammed her hand on the table. The sound was loud. "Stop joking, human. You are in no position to make requests. Your life is in my hands." Jack leaned back in his chair. He looked at the guards. Then he looked back at Kayla. "I know where I am, Your Majesty. I know what you want. You want me to sign a paper. You want me to tell my people to stop fighting." Kayla was surprised again. He knew the plan. Torin must have told him, or he guessed it. "It does not matter that you know," she said. "You will do it. If you refuse, we will execute the other prisoners. There are 50 of them. They will die because of you." Jack's expression did not change. He did not look sad. He did not look worried. He just looked thoughtful. 50 lives, he said. "That is a heavy price." Kayla smiled. She thought she had him. "Yes. It is heavy. So you will agree." Jack nodded. "I agree," he said. Kayla stopped smiling. It was too easy. She expected him to fight. She expected him to argue about the morality of it. "Why do you agree so fast?" she asked. Jack shrugged. "If I say no, they die. If I say yes, they live. It is simple math. I choose the option where people live. Kayla studied his face. She was looking for a lie. She was looking for fear. But she saw nothing. He was like a flat wall. She could not read him. This made her nervous. She stood up and walked around the table. She stood behind him. "You are too calm," she said. "Humans are emotional. You should be crying. You should be screaming." Jack looked straight ahead. Crying does not help. Screaming does not help. I save my energy for when it matters. The door opened. A woman walked in. She wore a KRWL uniform, but she walked like a human. Her name was Lisa Brown. She was a human liaison working undercover. The KRYL thought she was a collaborator. In reality, she was sending information to the Human Federation. She carried a data pad. "Queen Kayla," she said, "the transport ship is ready. We can move the prisoner to the front lines today." Kayla nodded. "Good. Take him to the holding cell until departure." Lisa walked over to Jack. She unlocked his cuffs from the table chain. "Come with me," she said. Her voice was low. Jack stood up. He followed her to the door. As they walked down the hallway, Lisa moved closer to him. The guards were behind them. "Be careful," Lisa whispered. She did not look at him. She looked straight ahead. "This is a trap. They want to use you as a puppet." Jack kept walking. "I know," he said. Lisa glanced at him. "Do you know what happens if you fail? They will kill you. And they will kill the others anyway." Jack stopped for a second. Then he kept walking. "I do not plan to fail," he said. Lisa felt a chill. There was something in his voice. It was not confidence. It was certainty. Like he knew the future. "Who are you really, Jack?" she asked. Jack smiled. It was a small smile. "Just a guy who wants to go home." They reached the cell. The guards pushed him inside. The door closed with a heavy sound. Lisa stood outside. She watched him through the glass. Jack sat on the bunk. He closed his eyes. He looked like he was going to sleep. Lisa walked back to the command center. Queen Kayla was waiting there. She watched the surveillance feeds. She saw Jack sitting in the cell. "He is too quiet," Kayla said. Lisa stood next to her. "He is in shock, maybe." Kayla shook her head. "No. Shock looks different. This is control. He is controlling himself." "Do you think he is dangerous?" Lisa asked. Kayla looked at the screen. "I do not know. But I will find out. Tomorrow he goes to the front. He will speak to his fleet. If he tries anything, we will kill him." Lisa nodded. But she was worried. She had seen many prisoners. None of them acted like Jack Miller. He was not afraid of the Kara. He was not afraid of death. What was he afraid of? Maybe nothing. Lisa decided to watch him closely. She needed to know if he was a hero or a fool. Because if he was a fool, he would get them all killed. If he was a hero, he might just save them. The KRWL destroyer was a massive ship. It was shaped like a spear. It moved through the dark space silently. Inside, the halls were filled with KRWL soldiers. They marched in perfect lines. Jack Miller was walked through the corridors by Lisa Brown and 2 guards. They took him to the bridge. The bridge was a large room with many screens. The floor was made of gray metal grates. Queen Kayla was not there. She was watching from her palace. She wanted to see everything on the video feed. A KRYL commander named Vrex stood at the center of the room. He was tall and had sharp teeth. He looked at Jack with disgust. "This is the human pawn?" Vrex asked. Lisa nodded. "He is the one." He agreed to broadcast the message. Vrex handed Jack a datapad. "Read this," he said. "It is the surrender order. You will speak every word exactly as it is written. If you change one word, we will shoot you." Jack took the pad. He looked at the screen. The text was in human English. It said that the Human Federation was defeated. It said that all ships should power down their weapons. It was a lie. Jack scrolled through the text. He did not say anything. He just read. Vrex grew impatient. Well, are you ready? Jack handed the pad back. I am ready, he said. But I need to use my own codes to reach the fleet. Your encryption might block the signal. Vrex hesitated. He looked at Lisa. Lisa shrugged. It makes sense. Human systems are different. Vrex nodded. Fine. Use your codes. But we will monitor everything. Jack sat at the communication console. He put on the headset. He pressed the button to open the channel. The screen lit up. It showed the human fleet in the distance. There were hundreds of ships. They were waiting. Jack began to speak. But he did not read the script. He spoke in a rhythm. It sounded like normal speech, but it was not. He said, "This is Jack Miller. The situation is critical." Repeat. The situation is critical. Follow Protocol Alpha 9. Verify coordinates. Stand by for new instructions. The KRYLL monitors did not understand. To them, it sounded like he was reading the surrender. But the human fleet understood. It was a code. It was a military cipher used only by special units on the human ships. Commanders received the message. They knew what Alpha 9 meant. It meant do not surrender. It meant prepare for a trap. It meant wait for the signal to attack. Jack continued to speak. He gave the KRYLL commander Vrex a smile. I am telling them to stand down, Jack said. Vrex looked at the screens. The human ships were not powering down. They were moving. They were changing formation. What are they doing? Vrex shouted. Jack kept talking. He was giving tactical advice to the KRYLL. Commander, he said, you should move your left flank forward. The rebels in Sector 4 are weak there. If you push hard, you can clear the area. Vrex was confused. Why would a human help us? Jack shrugged. I want the war to end. If you win fast, there is less fighting. Vrex believed him. He ordered his ships to move. They pushed forward into the sector Jack mentioned. There were indeed rebel factions there. KRYLL ships that had gone rogue. The KRYLL fleet destroyed them quickly. It was a victory. The soldiers on the bridge cheered. Vrex looked at Jack with new respect. Maybe you are useful, he said. Jack nodded. I know how they think. I can help you win. Lisa watched Jack closely. She saw his fingers moving on the console. He was not just talking. He was typing. He was inputting commands into the KRYLL system. He was mapping their defenses. Every time he gave advice, he learned more about their shield frequencies. He learned about their weapon reload times. He was gathering data. Lisa stepped closer to Jack. She pretended to check the console. What are you doing? She whispered. Jack did not look at her. I am ending the war, he said. This is not the surrender they want. Vrex is happy. The Queen is happy. But I am setting the board. Lisa was scared. If they find out, they will kill you. Let them try, Jack said. He finished the broadcast. He stood up. The KRYLL soldiers clapped him on the back. They thought he was a traitor to his own kind. They thought he was helping them win. Jack did not correct them. He walked back to his cell. He looked calm. But inside his mind, he was counting. He had what he needed. He knew the KRYLL fleet layout. He knew their weak points. He knew the command codes. Queen Kayla watched the recording in her throne room. She saw the victory against the rebels. She saw her soldiers cheering. She felt happy. The plan was working. The human was helping them. Torren stood beside her. This is good news, he said. The war might end soon. Kayla nodded. Yes. But keep watching him. I still do not trust him. He is too helpful. It feels like a gift that costs too much. Torren agreed. I will check his background again. There might be something we missed. Kayla looked at the screen where Jack was sitting in his cell. He was looking at the wall. He looked like a man waiting for a bus. She did not know that he was waiting for the right moment to strike. The field test was over. Now the real work would begin. Torren sat in his office. It was a small room filled with computer servers. The lights were dim. He was working on the data from Jack Miller. He had tried to access the human files before, but they were locked. Now, after the battle, he had new access codes. Jack had used them on the bridge. Torren had recorded them. He used them to bypass the human firewalls. The screen flashed green. Access granted. Files downloading. Torren leaned forward. He wanted to see the truth. Who was Jack Miller really? The first file opened. It was a service record. It listed missions. Torren scrolled down. The list was long. Too long for a simple infantryman. There were missions in dark space. There were missions involving diplomatic assassinations. There were missions where entire fleets vanished. Torren felt cold. He found a specific file. It was labeled Architect. He opened it. There was a photo of Jack. But he looked different. He looked older. He wore a black uniform with no rank insignia. The text said that Jack Miller was a legendary operative. He was responsible for ending 3 previous interstellar conflicts. He did not do it with big armies. He did it by turning enemy strategies against them. He made enemies destroy themselves. Torren read the details. Jack had once tricked a warlord into bombing his own capital. He had once hacked a defense grid and locked the owners out. He was not a soldier. He was a weapon. Torren stood up quickly. He had to tell the Queen. This was not a prisoner. This was a predator. Torren ran to the throne room. The guards let him in. Queen Kayla was resting on her chair. She looked tired again. "What is it, Torren?" she asked. Torren held up his tablet. "Your Majesty, I found the real files. Jack Miller is not an infantryman. He is the architect." Kayla sat up. Her eyes widened. "What does that mean?" Torren explained quickly. "He means he specializes in sabotage. He specializes in traps. The battle today. It was not a victory for us. It was part of his plan. He mapped our defenses. He learned our codes." Kayla shook her head. "No. That is impossible. We watched him. He was in chains. He was surrounded. He could not do anything." Torren pointed at the screen. "He did not need to move. He used our own system against us. Look at the fleet formation." Kayla looked at the tactical map. The KRYLL ships were arranged in a specific pattern. It looked strong. But Torren showed her the weak points. "If the humans attack from this angle, our shields will overlap. We will be blind on the left side." Kayla felt a knot in her stomach. She realized Torren was right. Jack had guided Vrex to move the ships into this position. He had done it under the guise of helping. She stood up. She was angry. She felt foolish. "Bring him to me," she said. "Bring him now. I will kill him myself." Torren hesitated. "Your Majesty, if we move him, he might activate something. We should lock the system first." Kayla ignored him. She walked out of the throne room. She went to the detention block. Meanwhile, Jack was in his cell. The door opened. Lisa Brown walked in. The guards stayed outside. Lisa looked worried. Jack looked at her. He knew why she was there. "They found out," Jack said. It was not a question. Lisa nodded. "Torren found your file. The Queen is coming. She is furious." Jack stood up. He stretched his arms. "Good. That means she is reacting." Lisa stepped closer. "Jack, you have to listen. If she gets here, she will order your execution. You need to leave." "I can open the door. I have a shuttle ready." Jack shook his head. "No, I am not leaving." Lisa grabbed his arm. "Why?" "You will die." Jack looked at her gently. "I am not going to die, Lisa. I am going to finish this. Legends are not made by running away. They are made by standing ground." Lisa let go of his arm. She saw the look in his eyes. It was the same look he had in the interrogation room. It was absolute certainty. "What is your plan?" she asked. Jack walked to the cell door. He looked at the keypad. "I have already started it. The fleet is in position. The codes are in the system. All I need is for her to confront me. It will give me the time I need." Lisa sighed. "You are crazy." "Maybe," Jack said. But it will work. The war ends today. Either we have peace, or the KR Empire falls. There is no middle ground. Lisa nodded. She understood. She was a soldier too. She knew when a mission was past the point of no return. I will help you, she said. I will stall the guards. Jack smiled. Thank you, Lisa. You are a good ally. Queen Kayla arrived at the detention block. She stormed down the hallway. Her guards followed her. She reached Jack's cell. The door was open. Lisa was standing there. Where is he? Kayla shouted. Lisa pointed inside. He is here. Kayla walked into the cell. Jack was sitting on the bunk. He looked relaxed. You tricked me, Kayla said. Her voice was low and dangerous. Jack looked up. I did not trick you. You tricked yourself. You wanted a pawn. I gave you a move. Kayla raised her hand. Her guards raised their weapons. I should kill you now. Jack shook his head. You could. But if you do, the protocol activates. Your fleet will lock up. Your systems will shut down. You will be helpless. Kayla froze. She looked at Torin. Torin checked his tablet. His face went pale. He is telling the truth, Torin said. The system is receiving a remote signal. It is coming from this cell. Kayla realized she was trapped. She had invited a wolf into her home. And now the wolf was showing his teeth. The air in the cell was heavy. Queen Kayla stood facing Jack Miller. Her guards had their weapons aimed at his head. But no one fired. They were waiting for the Queen's order. Jack sat on the bunk. He did not look at the guns. He looked at the Queen. You have a choice, Jack said. His voice was calm. It filled the small room. Kayla clenched her fists. She felt powerless. She was the ruler of an empire. She commanded thousands of ships. But this one human man held the keys. What do you want? She asked. Her voice shook slightly. I want peace, Jack said. Not a surrender. Not a victory for one side. I want a treaty. A fair treaty. Human sovereignty will be respected. KRWL borders will be respected. No more fighting. Kayla laughed. It was a bitter sound. You think you can force me? I am the Queen. Jack stood up. He walked toward her. The guards tensed. He stopped a few feet away. I am not forcing you. I am giving you a way out. Look at your empire. You are tired. Your people are tired. The war has cost you too much. If you fight now, you will lose your fleet. You will lose your power. If you sign, you keep your throne. You keep your honor. You can say you made a wise decision. Kayla looked at Torin. Torin looked at the tablet. The signal was getting stronger. If they did not agree soon, the KRWL network would shut down. Their life support, their engines, their weapons. Everything would stop. Kayla looked back at Jack. She saw no hate in his eyes. She saw no desire for revenge. He just wanted it to end. She realized that humans were different. They did not fight for glory. They fought for survival. And when they wanted peace, they were just as dangerous. She took a deep breath. She lowered her hand. Prepare the treaty, she said. Torin nodded quickly. He began to type. Lisa Brown watched from the corner. She let out a breath she did not know she was holding. It was over. The war was over. Jack sat back down. He waited. The document was sent to the cell console. Kayla signed it with her digital signature. Jack signed it with his name. The signal stopped. The KRYLL systems came back online. The guards lowered their weapons. Kayla looked at Jack. You are free to go, she said. Jack stood up. He walked to the door. Lisa followed him. They walked out of the detention block. They went to the hangar bay. A small human shuttle was waiting. It had been sent by the Federation once the treaty was confirmed. Jack stopped at the ramp. He turned to Lisa. Are you coming? He asked. Lisa shook her head. No. My work here is not done. Someone needs to make sure they keep the deal. Jack nodded. Okay. Take care, Lisa. You too, Jack. Jack walked up the ramp. The door closed. The shuttle lifted off. It flew into the dark space. Queen Kayla watched the ship leave from the throne room window. Torrhen stood beside her. "It is done," he said. "The war is over." Kayla nodded. "Yes. But we lost." Torrhen looked at her. "Did we?" "We are still here. The Empire is intact." Kayla shook her head. "We lost our pride. We underestimated them. We thought they were weak because they are soft. But they are strong because they are smart. Jack Miller is not just a man. He is a symbol." Torrhen was silent. He knew she was right. Kayla turned away from the window. She walked back to her obsidian chair. She sat down. She felt older than before. The war was gone. But the lesson remained. Never underestimate a human. Especially when they look calm. Especially when they ask for coffee. Jack Miller arrived at the Human Federation station. The crew cheered for him. They called him a hero. They called him a legend. Jack walked through the crowd. He did not smile. He did not wave. He went to his quarters. He sat on his bed. He took off his boots. He was just a man. He did not want to be a legend. He just wanted to sleep. Outside, the stars shone bright. The ships stopped firing. The silence of space returned. It was a good silence. It was the silence of peace. Jack closed his eyes. He dreamed of home. He dreamed of a world without war. And for the first time in 30 years, that dream was possible. The Queen had chosen a human to end the war. Too late she learned he was a legend. But in the end, it did not matter what he was. It only mattered that he kept his word. The war was over. And humanity was